with you in this regard. Now I'd like to recognize the distinguished gentleman from California, Chairman of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Mr. Issa.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for holding this important hearing. Above all else, the Government Oversight and Reform Committee is, in fact, the legacy committee of the Postal Committee. We take that seriously, that it is a primary piece of legislative authority and responsibility. Since 1970, this committee has overseen an independent agency responsible for its own balance sheet and profitability. There have been good years and bad years in that time, but no decade has been harder on the Post Office than the last decade. There has been a 20% drop in postal volume over that period. The Post Office has lost $20 billion, going from having a relatively handsome surplus to being up against its borrowing limit. We are here today to begin a process with the Postmaster and other stakeholders in finding a way to maintain certain prerequisites that this committee and the American people have counted on for over 200 years. First of all, the delivery of mail to every point in America. Second of all, the delivery of a level of service that Americans have come to expect. If at all possible, we want that to include all categories of mail, all types, and all delivery dates, meaning 6 days a week is a goal if we can achieve it. We also have an obligation for the American people to deliver value. The cost of mail is a cost to American commerce and to the American people. So every time there is an increase in postal rates, it is to the detriment of American efficiency and disposable income to the American people. Lastly, and most importantly, this committee is dedicated to sustainability. The Post Office is not an organization you can have one day, not have the next, and put back up again. It has been there since our founding. It is a mandate of Congress, in my opinion, since our founding, and it is memorialized in the Constitution. No Congress has ever suggested that we don't need a post office, and this will not ever be one in this committee. Postmaster General, I appreciate the fact that you have come in and re-looked anew at your predecessor's initial ideas, and I have seen some innovative and I think very worthwhile suggestions you have made, and some of them are tough. As we were talking before we came out here, the good news is there is at least 2 post offices that need to be closed in every congressional district in America. Let's hope there is not 1 or 3 in mine. I want to commend the Post Office legacy of finding ways to pare down over 200,000 positions through attrition and buyouts. I might note, though, that today there are examples the American people, if aware of, would be surprised. There are over 15,000 postal workers over 65 years old who are on disability and not expected to return, and yet they are paid a full salary. That is an area that we expect will be addressed during our negotiations. It is an area in which we want to be fair to these long-working and long-standing employees, but at the same time, if you can no longer do the job and you are over 65, there is a reasonable expectation that your status will change and you will not be counted among the active members of the postal system. I think this is particularly good in union negotiations because, in fact, what we want are workers who can be productively put to work, and those who cannot, we want to be fair to in any transition, whether they are over or under 65. Mr. Chairman, I would ask unanimous consent that my Washington Times op-ed of last year be included in the record.
No objection.
I thank you. In closing, this is not easy. Most of government needs are growing. Yours is not. Most of government has found new places in order to find authority and services. Yours has not and has not been offered the opportunity. This committee is willing to hear, though, about new services that create a value for the American people, opportunities for the Post Office to have further authority to find nexus and savings with other agencies or even the private sector. I believe that we can be entrepreneurial on both sides of the aisle for the betterment of the American people. I look forward to your testimony. I appreciate all of you here testifying and the many stakeholders that are also in the audience today. And, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would now